Every night at exactly 10 p.m., an old man sat by the window with 2 cups of coffee, 1 cup for himself, and 1 for his son, who hadn't come home in 3 years. The neighbors thought he was losing his mind, but they didn't know what happened the night his son walked away. In a small town near Chicago, 67-year-old Taylor Carter lived alone in the same house where he had raised his son, Thomas. After Taylor's wife died, Thomas became his whole world. Taylor worked as a mechanic for almost 40 years. His hands were rough, his back was bent, and his hearing was getting weak. But every morning, he still cooked breakfast for Thomas before work. Thomas was ambitious. He wanted a bigger life, a bigger city, a bigger future, and Taylor was proud of that. The problem was, he didn't know how to say it. One evening, Thomas came home carrying a suitcase. "I got a job in New York," he said. "That's great," Taylor replied. But instead of smiling, Thomas looked angry. "That's it? You're not even happy for me?" Taylor stayed quiet for a second. Then he said the wrong words. "Big cities change people." Thomas's eyes filled with disappointment. "You never believed in me." "That's not true," Taylor whispered. But Thomas had already turned away. That night, they argued harder than ever before. And just before leaving, Thomas said something that would echo in Taylor's mind for years. "Maybe I should have left a long time ago." The front door closed, and the house became silent. For the first few weeks, Taylor called every day. No answer. Then once a week. Still no answer. Eventually, the calls stopped. But the waiting never did. Every night at 10 p.m., Taylor placed 2 cups of coffee on the table. He sat by the window and looked at the road. Cars passed. Rain fell. Seasons changed. But the second cup remained untouched. The neighbors often saw him there. One woman asked, "Why do you keep making coffee for someone who never comes?" Taylor smiled gently. "Because one day he might." 3 years passed. Thomas built a successful career in New York. A good apartment, a good salary, a busy life, and yet, every night something felt missing. One evening, while searching for an old document, Thomas found a small box his mother had left behind. Inside was a folded note written by Taylor. It was never meant for Thomas to see. The note said, "I know my son thinks I don't believe in him. The truth is, I'm afraid the world will hurt him the way it hurt me. If I hold on too tightly, it's only because he is the last piece of my heart." Thomas read it once, then again, and again. His hands began to shake. For the first time in years, he realized his father's silence was not a lack of love. It was a lack of words. That same night, Thomas drove through the rain for nearly 12 hours. When he reached the old house, the porch light was still on. And through the window, he saw his father sitting at the table. 2 cups of coffee. Just like always, Thomas slowly opened the door. Taylor looked up. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Thomas noticed the second cup. It was still hot. Taylor's voice trembled. "I didn't know if you'd come tonight." Thomas dropped his bag and hugged him harder than he ever had as a child. And the old man, who had waited for 1,095 nights, finally stopped looking at the road. Sometimes fathers don't know how to express love. They don't write perfect messages. They don't always say, "I'm proud of you," but many of them spend their entire lives waiting, hoping, and loving in silence. If your father is still alive, call him today. Because one day, the chair by the window may be empty, and no amount of success will bring that moment back. For every father who loved quietly, and every child who realized it too late. Like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories.